Hello, my name is Joan Sendra. I'm an osteopath and a yoga teacher. First of all, I want to let you know that in the description, you'll find links to both the online and in-person yoga anatomy courses. And I also want to tell you that at the end of the month, on January 31st, we are starting an in-person yoga anatomy course in Barcelona. I've left the links for you in the description. Today, we're going to look at a sequence for adjusting the pelvic area, especially for people with hyperlordosis. Let's go to the screen. Hyperlordosis is characterized by the lumbar area curving forward, causing an anterior pelvic tilt. This affects the lumbar region and impacts the entire structure. The muscular implications, such as the diaphragm, the psoas, and the adductors, tend to contribute to hyperlordosis and that anterior pelvic tilt. Above all, what we need to do is stretch those muscle chains, but we also have the glutes, which are very powerful muscles, and this will have an impact on the pelvic area and the toning of the transverse abdominal and pelvic floor muscles. Let's get to the series. Tadasana. In the pelvis, which is in pelvic anteversion, in hyperlordosis that is, it pivots forward. It is necessary to tone the abdominal muscles and the leg muscles, especially the quadriceps. By keeping the navel point engaged, we do a posterior pelvic tilt to correct the natural alignment of the lumbosacral joint. We hold the posture for 1 to 3 minutes. Tadasana, a variation. By lifting the leg, we are toning the abdominal muscles and the quadriceps. This toning of the muscles helps to bring the pelvis back to its natural position. Remember that we are talking about hyperlordosis, about anterior pelvic tilts, not for people who have lumbar straightening, lumbar. We hold the posture for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Anjaneyasana, a variation. With this posture, we are stretching the psoas, the main muscle involved in anterior pelvic tilts, which is one of the most important muscles for stabilizing the pelvic area in cases of hyperlordosis. Additionally, we are stretching the obliques and the serratus muscles on the opposite side, which are antagonists and are affected by the shortening of the psoas. We hold the posture for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Virabhadrasana 3. It is a posture of strength and balance where we need to engage the abdominal muscles and above all also the leg muscles, both the one that is grounded, where we are toning the quadriceps, and the leg that is lifted, where we are toning the hamstrings and glutes. We hold the position for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Vada Hasta Uttanasana. It is a flexion that helps to bring the pelvis into pelvic retroversion, and we are stretching the entire posterior muscle chain. We apply mule bend, we tone the quadriceps and the feet together to be able to align the pelvis. Although it seems like a relatively easy pose, we have to keep the bandhas in mind and pay attention to the toning and alignment of the feet. We hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes. Utkatasana with a block, a variation. We tone the quadriceps, and by placing the block between the knees, we achieve alignment of the pelvic area. We apply Mula Bandha, as always, for stabilization, and we tilt the pelvis into a posterior pelvic tilt. It is an opening of the pectorals and the diaphragm, which are also very involved in anterior pelvic tilts. We hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes. Hasta Chandrasana, a variation. We draw the navel point inward to correct the curvature. Lumbar, and we stretch the diaphragm as we raise the arms up, which is involved in the functionality of the pelvis. We hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Parasarita Padottanasana, a variation. We are stretching the posterior muscle chain, and on the side where the stretch is more difficult, we stay twice as long. To achieve proper alignment, we hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Parivarta Parsvakonasana Namaste. It is a twisting pose that involves balance and strength, since we are toning the quadriceps as well as the back leg. This toning and balance help us align the pelvis because muscle tension, in this case we are stretching the right glute, also plays a role in stabilization. For this, we stretch for twice as long. On the side that is more difficult for us, we hold the pose on the easier side, so to speak, for 1 minute, then switch sides and stay for 1 to 3 minutes. Utita Skandasana Purevanga Hastabhumi. This position stretches the adductors, which will also help us stabilize the pelvis. We hold the position on the easy side for 1 minute and then twice as long on the side that is more difficult. Parivrita Malasana. It is a twisting posture where the pelvis is fixed and facing backwards. We apply Mula Bandha in order to stretch the lateral muscles of the lumbar area, which have a great influence on the pelvis. We hold the posture for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Upavista Utkata Konasana. We are stretching the adductors, which, as we have seen, affect the pelvic area and in turn are connected to the psoas and the diaphragm. To prevent the pelvis from shifting forward, we engage the navel point but without tightening the pelvic floor, which is what we're used to when we do Mula Bandha, contracting the pelvic floor and also the transverse abdominis. In this case, we will only engage the navel point and relax the pelvic floor area so that the adductors can stretch more effectively. We hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Janusisasana. We are stretching the posterior muscle chain, especially the lumbar area, to correct the pelvic region by moving the pelvis backward. We hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Navasana, a variation. It is a good pose for toning the abdominal muscles, which allows for proper alignment of the pelvic area, especially the toning of the transverse abdominal muscle. We hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes. Ardha Matsyendrasana, a variation, is a twisting pose to stretch the glutes, in this case, especially the right leg, which is a very strong muscle group that has implications in the misalignment of the pelvic area, particularly in its rotation and how it fits over the femur and knees. We are also doing a chest opener and holding the position for 1 to 3 minutes, then we switch sides. Tarasana. It is a flexion where we bring the pelvis backwards to correct pelvic anteversion. We stretch the posterior muscle chain that is involved in the lumbar region. We hold the position for 1 to 3 minutes. Gomukhasana, by crossing your legs. We are stretching, especially in this case the right glute, and we are also moving the pelvic retroversion backwards. We draw the navel in to move the pelvis back and help straighten it. We hold the position for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Parivrita Vada Konasana. Another twisting pose to align the pelvic area and stretch the adductors. We engage the navel point to align the pelvis and hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes, then switch sides. Setubandha Sarvangasana. We engage the quadriceps. With this pose, we need to be mindful of pelvic alignment and not increase the curvature too much of the lower back. Make sure the iliac crests are aligned with the shoulders and knees. We hold the pose for 1 to 3 minutes. Ekapada Setubandha Sarvangasana. It's the same pose as before but with one leg lifted. Therefore, it is a strength pose. In this case, we will increase the tension in the quadriceps of the leg that is resting on the floor. Engage the core, pull the navel in, and with the leg lifted, we also work the quadriceps. We make an effort to move the pelvis back. Be careful not to increase the curvature. Lumbar. We hold the position for 1 to 3 minutes and then switch sides. Supta Uttita Tadasana. We aim to stretch the anterior muscle chain, but we tuck in the navel point to avoid increasing the curvature. Lumbar. We perform a pelvic retroversion. We are stretching the diaphragm and pectorals in the emotions involved with the diaphragm, stretching the psoas and pelvic anteversions.
At kure namin Jugat kure namin Sat kure namin Siri Guru Deve namin At kure namin Jugat kure namin Sat kure namin Siri Guru Deve namin At kure namin Jugat kure namin Sat kure namin Siri Guru Deve namin At kure namin Jugat kure namin Sat kure namin Siri Guru Deve namin At kure namin Jugat kure namin Sat kure namin Siri Guru Deve namin At kure namin Jugat kure namin Sat kure namin Siri Guru Deve namin At kure namin Jugat kure namin Sat kure namin Siri Guru Deve namin At kure namin Jugat kure namin Sat kure namin Siri Guru Deve namin At kure namin Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Satguru Name Sri Guru Deva Name Satguru Name Sadguru Name. Sadguru Name.
Well, I hope you liked it. See you next time.